Gennady. Tonight's guest, hypnotherapist James Duncan. Michael Foerster, host of First Light, public radio's program on the intersections of science and society, and comedian Bryan McCree. And now, filling in for the vacationing fellow Gennady, here's Andy Aubrey.
Thank you. Tenura, how are you?
Good, how you doing,
Andy? Good. How's your summer been?
It's going pretty good, I can't complain.
All right.
Yeah.
Good,
The weather's good, I'm happy about that.
Oh, I know. We've had a beautiful
Changed
summer.
a little bit, yeah.
Yeah, I know, but you know, we're going to be graced by the presence of Madonna. She's coming to town.
Oh, right,
Yeah. Oh, yeah, later this fall.
I saw how much those tickets
Yeah, she's not giving us a break, is she?
No, not at all.
No. You know, she's in some hot water with the Jewish rabbis. They're a little upset because she has apparently used the name of the founder of Kabbalah in one of her songs. And they said the founder of Kabbalah's name should not be used for profit. In other words, maybe she could have used it in one of her movies.
Okay.
You know, I don't know. But unfortunately, too, you know, her marriage is on the rocks, too.
Yeah.
And I guess her and Guy Ritchie, there were some career differences, like he didn't have one.
Right.
So, yeah. But, well, what else is going on? We got the mayor, of course, good old mayor of Detroit. He's giving us lots of fodder for laughter. Poor guy, he can't catch a break right now, though. He was giving a speech at one of the community centers locally, and he had a heckler in front. And the guy kept yelling at him and yelling at him, and the mayor finally said to him, he says, "Excuse me, sir, what have you done to make this city better?" And the guy said, "I voted against you." So, you know, anyways. But I guess we'll wrap things up here and start the show off. We've got some great guests for you tonight. We've got James Duncan, who's a hypnotherapist, and we'll talk all about what he does on his day-to-day life. And Michael Foerster is an astronomer with NASA. Fascinating stuff there, as well as a comedian, Bryan McCree. So thank you for joining us, and we will get this show started.
Here's what's new in the Royal Oak Community Calendar. It's downtown Royal Oak in style. They are bringing fashion to the streets of Royal Oak, and this event partnering with Detroit Fashion. Back to you.
Okay, thank you very much, Tenura Gaddis. Super job. And I have sitting next to me Mr. Jim Duncan, who is a Royal Oak-based hypnotherapist. Jim, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Andy.
All right. Now, hypnotherapy. I assume this is not you getting people to take their clothes off in your office and run around and cluck like a chicken. Right. Is that true?
Yeah, that's one of the first questions I always get.
Okay.
That is not what we do.
Good. I'm glad to just follow suit along with everybody else on that one. What is hypnotherapy, and can you enlighten us on the general aspects of what you do?
Hypnosis is a tool used to access the subconscious mind. And there is the school of thought in that the subconscious mind is where we house our motivations, our desires, our beliefs, and by accessing that part of our mind, we can then give ourselves a new way of thinking that overrides our conscious, logical, analytical mind. It's not something that will make you do anything against your morals or your ethics or your will, but it's a way to present a better operating program than what you've been working with.
Interesting. Okay. Now, how did you get started and interested in doing this as a career?
Originally, my first experience with hypnosis started when I was about 13 years old, and I was training to be a classical ballet dancer. And I got interested in using self-hypnosis to improve my technique for performance enhancement. And I continued to study. I would get books. I would take workshops here and there, but mainly through self-study. And over time, I just kind of had this little knack for being able to work with it. And I would be, somewhere doing a show, and someone in the cast would find out that I worked with self-hypnosis or guided imagery, which it's often called. And they would ask me to help them out with, a problem, if they would be interested in losing a little weight or maybe stop smoking or something. And I did it on the side just to help people along.
Now, self-hypnosis, and then you take that leap over to hypnotizing others for benefits, obviously, right? at that point, did you say, this might work? I might be able to really make this kind of my life's calling and help people out?
Well, it was really funny. I had one of those aha moments. I was given an opportunity, a very small window of opportunity, to take the first class that I ever took towards certification when I decided I really wanted to help people. And I happened to call a school and ask for their catalog for when their courses were going to start, and I could take a look at their catalog, and they said, well, you know what, our next class for the first in the series is starting this weekend. This was on a Thursday. And I said, well, sign me up. And on Saturday, I was in my first class going toward my first certification. And once I got in there, I knew that I wanted to keep doing it. I wanted to help people to help themselves, and that's really what hypnosis and hypnotherapy does.
Right. Now, your practice is in Royal Oak, correct? And tell us a little bit about the types of people who come to visit you and the types of challenges, I guess, that they try to overcome through your assistance.
Very good choice of words, challenges. I work predominantly with people facing what people might call catastrophic health issues or major health issues. I work with a great deal of people who are facing cancer. I do a lot of community service work. I lecture regularly at places like Gaddis Club, Carmanos Cancer Institute. But most of the people that I see are coming to me for some aspect of their health concern. And hypnosis has been approved since 1958 by the American Medical Association as a valid form of therapy. Hypnosis itself does not treat anything. What happens is it's a wonderful tool to help you rethink the way you're approaching your wellness and your health. Now, if wonderful things happen, that's great, but I can't actually say that I'm, treating someone for some aspect of cancer or heart disease or, diabetes or anything like that. But people find a lot of benefit in using hypnosis in working with their health team, with their challenges.
And you mentioned Gaddis Club, and that's an organization that I've been associated with myself in the past. In fact, Laura Ortiz has been a guest on our show, and she's, I believe their marketing director is Laura's position. But great people over there, and they do wonderful work. And cancer patients can be filled with trepidation, and I assume that's where you can come in to bring that subconscious level of at ease to the fore, right?
Well, it's really interesting because people who are facing any kind of major health concern, when they come to a hypnotherapist, usually I'm the last person they're looking for. They've seen every specialist, they've talked to every counselor, they've run the whole book on it. And when you walk into my office, it's nothing like a doctor's office. There's no clinical feel to it. It feels like a living room. And the first thing you need to understand is that if you believe and you want to find some form of well-being, you have the ability to access that through your own mind. Our mind controls everything that takes place in our body, including healing, and we are designed for well-being. We were born designed for well-being. And if you allow your mind to access that original design, then you can really achieve some wonderful results for yourself. And at the same time, hypnosis and hypnotherapy is such a relaxing process anyway. Once you start learning it, you just kind of enjoy doing it more and more. The more you practice, the better you get, and the deeper you go.
Interesting. Well, I think it's fascinating, and we've got about 4 pages worth of questions to ask you. I don't know if we'll get to all of them, but we do have some more things. I want to learn a little bit more about exactly how it works and dispel some myths, if you will, about what people's impressions of hypnotherapy have been over the years, and you being in the business, I'm sure can help with that. So we will take a break right now and be back with hypnotherapist James Duncan. Welcome back to the Royal Oak Show. I'm here with certified hypnotherapist James Duncan. And Jim, fascinating stuff here. I wanted to talk a little bit more about how it works without you actually hypnotizing the entire studio audience and all of our people at home.
Avert your eyes.
Yeah, I come to you and I've got some disgusting habit I'd like to eliminate, and it's twirling my hair or picking my nose or whatever it may be. And I come to see you, and how do you start things off with us?
Normally in the office, what we do in therapeutic hypnosis is just try to get someone relaxed. We relax their body and their mind. Although physical relaxation is not required for hypnosis, like when we do emergency room hypnosis, there isn't any relaxation. You know, it's just right now we have to do it.
So you actually go into before surgery, for instance, at a hospital?
Yeah, I'm certified to do actual general anesthetic for surgery.
Wow.
The process is really simple. You get the person to relax, and as you start hearing the suggestions, I'm doing nothing but talk. And the client's not in my control. I'm not turning them into a zombie. And as the body relaxes, then the mind begins to relax. And once the mind relaxes, we do therapeutic hypnosis in a state called alpha hypnosis state, or alpha brainwave.
Okay.
It's the same state as that kind of floaty place when you're waking up and falling asleep, where you maybe think somebody called your name, or you're not quite sure you're asleep or not. That's alpha brainwave activity, and we all go through it several times a day. The only difference is that when you're using hypnosis, you're guided there, and so your attention is always focused on what you're doing. By getting to alpha brainwave activity, you're bypassing what's called critical faculty, and that's your logical, analytical mind. So once you've done that, your subconscious mind, being your protector, it will operate on whatever it perceives is beneficial or protective or forward moving for you. So if you've had a problem like twiddling your hair or picking your nose, you access the subconscious mind, get past that critical faculty, and give the suggestion that's more forward moving, more beneficial, more protective. Your subconscious mind wants to take that more beneficial suggestion and make it the new operating program. It's really very simple.
And you can help people overcome their anxiety over going to the dentist to, even, like you say, surgeries and such.
Yep. Yeah, I'm a member of the board of directors of the International Medical and Dental Hypnotherapy Association.
Okay.
And that was it's an organization that was originated by a lady from right here in Royal Oak, and it's one of the 3 largest hypnosis certification organizations in the world. 5 years ago, I was named director of the mentoring program for IMDHA, and in that capacity, I mentor other certified hypnotherapists around the world. I get phone calls and emails from Hong Kong or, Sydney, Australia, or, someplace in the UK, and they say, I've got this going on, how should I approach it, and so that's a really fulfilling part of the work is just being able to help people with different kind of twists and turns to our profession. So,
what's one of the most unusual requests or situations that's come your way?
It's funny, I mentioned it in the green room. One of my certifications is in forensic hypnosis, which is real exacting. And forensic hypnosis is all about investigation and corroborating investigative evidence and things like that. So I actually had a police officer one time who had lost his PDA that had all of his notes for an investigation. And so we did forensic hypnosis to actually retrieve the memory of where he had left his PDA. Unfortunately, the gentleman had left it on a table at a Boston market, and so he was not going to get that PDA back. But the use of hypnosis in recovering memory is very, very powerful. It's a great tool.
I might call you because we misplaced the remote control at our house all the time, and I mean it. Don't be surprised if you get a call about 2 in the morning or car keys or whatever it may be. Okay, another question. What is the difference between brainwashing and hypnosis?
That's an interesting one. A lot of people are afraid of the brainwashing concept, and you cannot be hypnotized to do anything against your morals or your ethics or your will. You can't be hypnotized if you don't want to be hypnotized. Brainwashing is a breaking down of a person's willpower and their belief system, and it takes a long time to do. Now, hypnosis may be used in part of that process, but hypnosis is not brainwashing, and brainwashing is not hypnosis. They're completely different things.
Could it be used, you know, we hear a lot about these prisoners at Guantanamo Bay and some of the techniques used. Is there a potential for this being used to cull information from these potential terrorists, for instance?
It possibly.
But again, they'd have to want to be, right?
Yeah, they would have to want to convey the information. You know, a prime example of wanting to and not wanting to be hypnotized, I'll use myself, is if I'm what's called a natural somnambulistic. And what?
Say that one more time.
A somnambulistic.
Okay.
Somnambulist actually means sleepwalker.
Okay.
In the area of hypnosis, though, a natural somnambulist is someone who can put themselves into trance very rapidly. I can kind of think I want to be in trance, and in about 3 seconds I'm there. So it's very easy to put myself into a trance. But if I were to go to a stage show, which is all usually about some kind of embarrassment taking place, I am not about the embarrassment thing. So if I go to a stage show, you will never see me ever enter a trance, because I do not want to be in that trance in that place. So it's not going to happen.
Right. Wow. Did you see the Manchurian Candidate?
Yeah, the old one, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Because that seems like that might be right up your alley on that.
They tried those experiments for real, and they figured out that it really didn't work. So
really?
Yeah.
Fascinating, interesting stuff. Well, hopefully we're all a little more enlightened because of James Duncan here, who has told us all about hypnotherapy, and thank you for being here on the Royal Oak Show. Good luck to you in the future.
My pleasure.
And,
thank you.
Hopefully we cross paths again. Thanks, Jim.
Thank you.
We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Royal Oak Show. My next guest is an astronomer with NASA. He is a former professor at Northwestern Michigan University and a University of Michigan graduate. Please welcome Mr. Michael Foerster.
Thank you.
Michael, welcome.
Good to be here.
All right. You are with NASA, and we had a fascinating discussion on the telephone today talking. Do you have a telescope in your house, first of all?
Several.
Several. I would hope. If you said no, we would just ask you to leave right now, mister.
Yep.
Okay? Because
it's like a chef without frying pans, astronomer with telescope.
Either that or you do it all day, you get sick of it, and you don't want to deal with it at night, maybe.
Well, that's what I do at night. That's my
I get
job.
it. Well, I guess that would be your prime time, wouldn't it?
Yep, that's
it's
my
easier
gig.
to see the stars at night, that's true. Okay, you are with the Jet Propulsion Laboratory based at Caltech, is that right?
At Caltech, Pasadena, California.
Okay. And tell us how your day goes. I mean, what is the day in the life of Michael Foerster, just gazing at the stars, like?
Well, there's the day job and the night job.
Okay.
The daytime job is I do public outreach for NASA, so schools and other civic groups.
Okay.
And the nighttime gig is the real job, and after we finally get the kids in bed, I go to my office and I spool up the computer and I log onto the telescopes which are in the Canary Islands over in the Atlantic Ocean off the coast of Morocco.
Wow.
And we have 4 telescopes there, and we view the night away.
Wow.
And then comes the crack of dawn, and it's time to close up the telescopes, and that data, the data run from that particular night is then posted online, and astronomers from around the world use that for their particular projects.
Wow. Why Canary Islands? Is there a particular reason that location is there?
Well, the Canary Islands are the dark sky site for Europe. Just like if you were in the United States, you want to build a telescope, you might put it in the Southwest, in Arizona or New Mexico. Europe is pretty far north and pretty cloudy, so they went to the Canary Islands, which are volcanic and off the Sahara Desert, so it's usually very dry, except for the dust storms. We try to avoid the dust storms.
Okay.
It just gives us a nice, dry, high, quiet place to do our observations.
Okay. Now, your shirt says Orion.
Yeah.
And tell us about the next phase of space exploration, I guess, involving that.
Well, for human spaceflight, we are currently running the space shuttle, and that's going up to the space station. And the shuttle is going to finish its run in about 2 years. September of 2010, if things go to plan, is when the shuttle will be done flying. And the replacement for the shuttle will be the Orion spacecraft, which has been described by NASA as Apollo on steroids. It's a bigger capsule, but it's shaped like an Orion or like an Apollo capsule. It will fly off on a rocket, not the Saturn V rocket that Apollo flew on, but it'll fly on the Ares rocket, and it'll service the space station. It'll take 6 people to the space station. It'll take 4 people to the moon. It'll put 4 people on the surface of the moon, where Apollo put 2 people on the moon. So it's just a bigger, beefier version of what we did in the past. But it's going to get us out of low Earth orbit, where we've been for the past almost 30 years, and finally back to the moon and then to Mars.
Wow. Why space exploration? Besides the obvious, another market for Walmart, why?
Starbucks. Don't forget Starbucks.
And Starbucks, right. They say, well, why do we race cars? Well, it's for technology and safety, and we've been able to adapt some of those things to, everyday life. But the space exploration, why do we continue to go out there?
It is the next frontier. It's the next step out there. And humanity has always been what's over that next mountain, what's beyond that next river. And we've done that now. We've been pole to pole on this planet. And our destiny, I really believe that our destiny is in the stars. Sometime, at some point in our future, we are going to leave this planet. So if you want the answer writ large, it's because it's what we do. If you'd like the more succinct answer, is right now there are 2 spacecraft orbiting the moon. There is one from China, there is one from Japan. India, in a few weeks, is going to launch a moon mission. So then your next question might be, how many U.S. missions are at the moon right now? 0.
Right.
So if you want to if you want to be a citizen in a country that is on the technological edge, that is a leader, then this is what we have to do. If, however, you want China and Japan and India do this, well, then we can pretend we're Denmark or the Netherlands and sit back and let the leaders of the world take over, because at that point we'll no longer be a leader.
Do you think China and Japan and India realize we've already been to the moon?
They know, and they've looked at the blueprints. And
Okay.
They
stole our idea, it sounds like.
They borrowed heavily. It is the sincerest form of flattery.
That's true.
NASA is an open organization. They didn't have to steal anything. They just had to ask, and we gave it to them.
Well, that was nice of us.
We're very nice that way.
Absolutely. Interesting stuff. Now, Mars, we're doing some pretty nice, big, fast-forward thinking things going on in Mars right now, correct? And the rovers there?
Mars, right now we have 3 missions in orbit. We have 3 missions on the ground. Mars has been tough. Since we first launched our first missions to Mars 40 years ago, we've had 20 failures and 20 successes. We're batting 500 and going to Mars. Mars is tough.
Yeah.
And it's only just with this most recent mission, the Phoenix mission, that we tied. Up until now, we've been losing on the average. Phoenix is right now on the North Pole of Mars. It is a digger mission. It's not a rover. It's a backhoe, and it's digging through the ice and the soil and looking for the organic chemistry that we would need for life. And I do have a belief that there is proof of life on Mars. I actually have a bet that there is with a colleague, and I hope to collect on that. We have in the year 2050 to find proof of life on Mars, or I'm out of sawbuck. But I think that is part of that same idea. That's our destiny. That's where we should be going to next. And that will be humanity's next home. And these are the first scouts to go there. The rover missions you talked about, Spirit and Opportunity, they've been driving around the planet now for 4.5 years. They were designed to last 90 days each. And the reason we sent 2 of them is because it was very likely that one of them was going to crash and burn. One was going to fail. But yet both have succeeded and succeeded beyond our imaginations. And they just keep going and going, just like that bunny in the battery commercials.
Wow. You know the difference between a commercial air flight and Mars, don't you?
No.
You can get free water on Mars. But I kid. We're going to come back with Michael Foerster because we have more questions to ask him about the great beyond known as outer space, and he will enlighten us then. So please come back and join us. We'll be right back.
return right after this moment. Stay tuned for Bryan and McCree.
Welcome back to the Royal Oak Show. I have Michael Foerster here. He's with NASA, and he is absolutely boggling our mind with all of the great stories of the outer space and the world beyond. Now, one topic that interests many people is the world of extraterrestrials. And I'm not talking about the movie, although wouldn't that be something if that little guy showed up one day? Your impressions of all of this UFO business, considering the professionalism that you have probably studied it from that angle. What do you think, Michael?
I was doing a public observing night at the observatory 2 or 3 weeks ago, and a young lady walked up to me with her boyfriend next to her and said, "What do you think about UFOs?" And I said, "Oh, I absolutely believe in them." And she turned around and put her elbow right in her boyfriend's gut and, "See? See, he believes." And I said, "Well, I believe that there are things unidentified. I believe that there are things that people see that they don't know what they are. But I don't believe that we have little green men from planet Xenon just because somebody sees something they don't know what it is." That's problem number one. For them to make the most unlikely assumption possible to, if I don't know what it is, it must be from the other side of the known universe.
Right.
It's just enough to say you don't know what it is and you don't know. O'Hare Airport, one of the busiest airports in the world. Last year, they had a sighting for 45 minutes over the main terminal. 45 minutes where you have trained baggage handlers and people who are used to working around airplanes, and there's something above the airport. They didn't know what it was. And we still don't know what it was. It didn't show up on radar. But on the other hand, in this era where everybody's cell phone has a camera built in, right, when people going to an airport have cameras hanging all over their body to take their vacation pictures, not a single photograph of something was hanging over the busiest airport in the world at 9:30 in the morning for 3/4 of an hour. If you want to present to the astronomy community, to scientists, that these are really exotic, other side of the universe things, if you're making an extraordinary claim, we want extraordinary evidence, not some fuzzy picture of, look at these dots that are about 200 miles away over Phoenix. Show us the money. Mm-hmm. And then people say, well, you have a vested interest, you don't want these things to be shown, and that's absolutely the reverse of the truth. The fact is, I would love to find proof of life in other worlds. It is part of my research. It has been ever since I was in college. I believe that there is life out there in the universe. To quote a great philosopher, his name is Woody Allen. He makes movies now and then. You might have heard of him.
Heard of Woody Allen. Yeah.
Dr. Allen said that if we are the only life in the universe, looking at all the stars in the sky, what a waste of space. And he's absolutely right. There are so many stars in the sky. There's a star for every grain of sand on this planet. There's 7 sextillion stars. That's a 7 followed by 29 zero stars. And we think that most of those have planets. And we found some of those planets. We've not yet found a place with life anywhere in the universe except here. We've not yet found an Earth-like world, but we're looking. But I don't think they're visiting O'Hare at 9:30 in the morning.
Well, maybe they had a flight to,
Then they should have booked out of Midway, because they'd probably actually catch your plane.
Amazing. Well, I hope you're right, because I think that'd be fun.
Yes.
See what's out there. What is an exoplanet?
That's my line of research. Exoplanets are planets that orbit other stars. And up until very recently, we thought that the only 9 planets in all of creation, and I still think Pluto's a planet, so that's part of the 9.
For the record.
For the record, that's my belief, that the only 9 planets in all of creation were here around our sun, Earth and Venus and the rest of our family. And back when I was a grad student, I would not have thought that we would find planets around other stars. Not because I didn't think they existed, but because it's so beyond our technological reach. But over the years, with improvements in telescopes and in computers, and especially cameras, when you can go to Best Buy now and spend $150 and get something that, back when I was a student, I would have drooled over to attach to a telescope. They're amazing cameras today. We are now finding dozens of worlds. We found over 300 that we have now confirmed, and there are thousands of more candidates that astronomers like myself are looking at these worlds. What we're finding are the oddballs. They're very large. They're Jupiter-sized or larger, and they tend to be very close to their star. We call them roasters because they're even far closer than Mercury is, as close to our sun. Where Mercury orbits in 85 days around our sun, these orbit in 4 days or in 5 days. Less than a week to go all the way around the star. Very hot places. So we've not yet found an Earth, but we're making progress, and I'd love to be part of the team that makes that discovery in 10, 15 years. I think we will.
Interesting. Wow. Was your favorite band growing up Pink Floyd?
Chicago.
Chicago. You had Set the Controls for the Heart of the Sun on the loop on your 8-track player, right?
Yeah.
That would have been cool.
Yeah.
And another thing is Project Astropolaris. Just sounds cool. I don't know what's going on there, but that's it's nothing to do with jet skis or snowmobiles, though, right?
No, Astropolaris is Project Astro is a national program for outreach. I was talking about my day job for outreach for NASA, and I do 80 or so events a year. Not quite 2 a week, but I'm heading that way. So Project Astro is run by the Astronomical Society of the Pacific with funding from NASA and the National Science Foundation, and we go out to schools and organizations and share what we know about the sky and try to share some of the excitement we have.
Right.
You were talking during the break about why wasn't school like this?
Yeah.
And I think astronomy is a very exciting thing. It's some idea of what's out there beyond the borders of Royal Oak. Believe there is something beyond Royal Oak. I know it's hard.
There's Ferndale, there's Berkeley.
Yeah.
You know, this could go on.
And you go further, and there's even Troy, and the universe beyond that.
Yeah.
And I think it's a wonderful story. And with things like Project Astro and some of the other outreach things that we do, we try to share that excitement.
Well, may you be on one of the first missions to Mars that goes out there. You and Justin Timberlake are going to be on that first boat
If
up
that's
there.
the price I have to pay, then okay,
Yeah.
I can do that.
Make him promise not to sing, and everything will be fine. We have all been enlightened by Mr. Michael Foerster here and his knowledge of the great beyond, and your work is important, and we appreciate you bringing it to us. So thank you for coming to the Royal Oak Show, and good luck in the future.
Hey, thanks, man. Anytime.
Michael Foerster. We'll be right back with Bryan McCree.
What do you want?
Just rock and roll.
What?
Just something that says rock and roll.
Are you serious?
I love rock and roll.
Okay, dude.
Some mistakes in life are permanent, like hearing loss. To learn how to protect your hearing, visit asha.org.
You're here to see Mr. LeBeau. He's doing his Tai Chi right now.
An exercise program that challenges muscles not only increases bone health and quality of life, it increases life. A message from the American Academy of Orthopedic Surgeons.
Welcome back to the Royal Oak Show. We now are going to be entertained by the comedic stylings of Flint, Michigan's very own Mr. Bryan McCree. Please welcome Bryan.
Thank you.
Like you guys are like, great, now we get to look at Tracy Chapman. Look, people whispering, I didn't know she was doing stand-up. She looks good, though. She looks good. Drunk guy in the back, I'd date her. As introduced, my name is Bryan McCree, and I'm Irish. On my master's side. Let's go, folks, let's go. Because you know there weren't no Kunta McCrees running around in Africa. Wouldn't that have been a heck of a sight? See some native in a green loincloth, freckles, spear in one hand, bagpipes in the other. Be like a National Geographic cover gone out of heck. I'm actually thinking about changing my name to Kunta McCree just so I can introduce myself to people. My name is Kunta McCree! You guys are like, it's a Brotherkin River dance. He must have the internet. Well, I travel all over the country doing this job, doing stand-up comedy, and I'm out in the woods a lot. Let me get this off my chest. For those of you that live in the country, I see no need for you to have fake deer on your lawn. No, because if you wait a few minutes, a real deer will be standing there. Putting a fake deer on your lawn in the country would be like me living in the city putting a plastic homeless family out in the front yard. Can't you see him standing there with that little plastic hand out just begging, just figurine next to it with a shopping cart? Scared Jehovah's Witnesses early Saturday. They round that corner and see this. There's going to be a huddle in your front yard. Michigan has a new car seat law. You have to be 4'9". If you are not 4'9", you have to be restrained by a toddler seat. My mother-in-law is 4'8". Man, she was mad last week when we went to Marquette. She's sitting back there in that baby seat like, this is ridiculous. I can sit up front. Just mad, feet dangling, kicking the back of my seat. And then out of nowhere, she's like, oh, that's my jam right there. And I was like, oh, hold on, little lady. Until your feet can touch the ground, you don't get to choose what we hear on the radio. Now finish drinking your Starbucks out of your sippy cup. Talk to you in 6.5 hours, baby. Trying to be blacker this year. Just a little. But you don't understand, it's difficult to communicate with these little hip-hop kids. You know, some of these little hip-hop kids are so black, I don't even know what they're saying. You know, and I want to be able to communicate with the young black youth, so I was talking to my Ebonics instructor earlier. Had a few things to ask him. I had to ask him some stuff. He said, hang on, I'll be right with you. Oh, man. Black slang as a second language. That would have been awesome. Think of all the doors would have opened for African Americans. I could have went to the UN and got me a job as a translator. Really, say, for instance, the gangbangers, the hardcore thugs from Detroit, man, got something they want to talk to the world about, right? They'll come pimping up in the UN, talking street slang. They'd be like, yo, 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 yo. What's good? And I would be there right beside him translating. He said, how are you gentlemen doing today? Yeah, dog, your mans and them out front was tripping, man, grabbing on me and stuff, almost tore my throat back. He said that the gentlemen at the metal detector were a little overzealous in their methods and ran the risk of ripping his antique jersey. Oh, man. Black slang is a second language. That would have been awesome, man. They were thinking about doing it about 10 years ago. Can you imagine? They'd have to come out with a whole new TV show to teach small children how to speak it. Might go something like the shows we all know. Can you tell me how to get to Ebony Street? Today's Ebony Street is brought to you by the letter B. I, B, you, B, and we be. Ebony Street is also brought to you by the number FO. Thank you.
Good stuff.
Thank you.
Very good.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah. Brian.
It's not usually how you do it, huh?
Your hands off my girl.
I want to sip my tea, man.
Uh-huh. All right, Bryan McCree, ladies and gentlemen. What do you think of this guy?
I thought that was pretty funny, you know, yeah.
Oh, what is this, American Idol?
Yeah, we're gonna. This is.
That was the worst humor I've ever seen.
Paula and I will be Simon.
Could I get a little more water? You guys afraid I'm gonna wet the bed? I can't believe how much water is in here.
The show is on a budget, Brian. I'm sorry to tell you.
I love the Astronomer. That was awesome.
Was he good? Yeah.
Oh, he had me laughing, thinking of an Indian space crew. Mm-hmm. Can you imagine? New Delhi, we have a problem. That's funny, and you know it is.
I know.
You don't want to lose your,
Houston,
you don't
I
wanna
get
lose
you.
your ethnic viewers. That's okay. I'm black. I can do these jokes.
I heard that. Now, you got a little interracial relationship going on, you said, right? What's all that about?
Very diverse lifestyle. I'm married white, and I'm not bragging to you.
That's all right. I'm all right with it. Whoever loves you and has your back.
Okay,
right
thank
on.
you. Because, you know, some sisters carry hot grits with
That's
them.
what
and
I've
they be
heard,
like,
but I'm not
"That's
one
wrong."
of them. I'm not one of them. More power to you.
Okay, baby, thank you.
Yes, absolutely. I'm
just
also interracial too, so
Are
right
you?
on.
Well, there you go.
I feel bad for not having a black wife now. This is terrible. Oh,
You got
well.
the black hair working.
Well, I'm trying. Yeah, I'm trying. Getting that fro thing happening, you know. But, no, what's it up? What's up with the relationship
It can
scene?
be complicated, Andy.
Yeah.
Especially at the holidays,
I'll bet.
Christmas and Thanksgiving.
Okay.
Just with the menu alone, you don't know what to serve.
Yeah.
Think about it. Collard greens versus green beans. Sweet potato pie versus pumpkin pie. Rock versus powder. You got some
Come on
choices
now.
to make.
Wow. All right. Okay.
And Andy, I married me a pretty white woman too.
Really?
Yeah, I figure if I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna do it right.
You might as well.
Yeah, not like these other brothers. You seen them walking around with these big ugly white women like they done hit the lottery. They be walking around like they got a trophy wife. Like, yeah, this is my lady. And then you look over at her, she's like, you see her? It's like, she must have a nice personality. But I get it.
Yeah?
Pretty women are more work.
Yeah.
I know, that's why they do it. Pretty women, a lot of maintenance on them. I can describe pretty women to you very easily like this. Pretty women are like boutiques.
Okay.
They got good stuff, but they're not always open.
Okay.
Big Ugly open like 7-Eleven.
Yeah. Anytime, day or night, right?
That's right, baby.
I hear you. Okay. You figure that out. We have got only 30 seconds left. Tell us where you're going to be in Madison, Wisconsin.
I'm going to be in Madison, Wisconsin, the last weekend of this month.
Okay.
And it's called Comedy on State.
Okay.
I'm hosting a Metal Fest next weekend at the Machine Shop.
And that's in
this
Flint?
is coming Saturday.
Okay.
That's in Flint.
All right.
That's my hometown, Flint, Michigan. Yeah, number 3 in the country in killing.
All right.
The 21st of September, I'll be at Maxie's in Flint.
Okay, good. Well, we'll look for you there. Funny
Thank you very much.
stuff.
Thank you.
And thanks for coming out to the Royal
It was
Oak
my
Show.
pleasure.
Look out. Thank you for joining us on the Royal Oak Show. And to all of our guests, James Duncan and Michael Foerster and Bryan McCree. We will see you next time on the Royal Oak Show.